Move over, pumpkin spice. There's a new flavor sensation that's gonna slap your taste buds silly. I'm making this spiced cranberry sauce that everyone's gonna love. So let's get started. Even though I kinda like it, I feel like canned cranberry sauce creates a lot of cranberry haters, and I get it. Visually, it's not very appealing, and the flavor is pretty one note, so I always make my own from fresh cranberries. It's really easy to do, and you can make this days before your big meal, and the flavor is miles apart from that gelatinous tube that comes in the can. There's a recipe on the bag of cranberries, and if you follow it, you're gonna get a sauce that's much better in texture than the stuff in the can. But the flavor is still going to be pretty similar, and I like to jazz mine up. So for this sauce, I'll be using one 12-ounce bag of fresh cranberries. I've got 1 cup of sugar, 1 orange, some fresh ginger. This is 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract and 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves. I'll throw in a big old pinch of salt, and we'll need a little bit of water. And for my super secret and special ingredient, I've got some habanero pepper. Now let's put this together. Let's get started by mincing up this habanero pepper really finely. And you probably want a glove up for this because these are really, really hot. And let me tell you, nothing can ruin an intimate moment, whether it be with yourself or anyone else, faster than pepper hands. All right, now we'll just set this aside for now. The first thing I'm gonna do is to zest this orange, and I'm gonna do it right down into the pot here. I'm just gonna grate that zest off, let it fall right down in there. And I'm really just looking to get the orange stuff. I don't want to get down into the white part, or as little as possible, because that white pith there really has no flavor or value to this recipe. But the zest has a tremendous amount of flavor. We'll just go around and take it off this whole orange. Now, I need a cup of liquid for this, so I'm gonna get all the juice out of this orange, and then I'll top it off with water to get a full cup. Now we'll put that watered down orange juice and the cup of sugar into the pan here. You could use a little bit less sugar than that if you want, but if you go too low, this is not going to set up right, and it's going to be kind of a watery sauce. But that's up to you. Now let's bring this up to a boil, and we'll get that sugar all nice and dissolved, and then we'll just kind of throw everything in there after that. Now, as soon as this comes up to a boil, just go ahead and throw in all those cranberries. We'll throw in our cloves. Here's that 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. And that vanilla is just gonna kind of take that really acidic sharpness down just a tiny bit. And that's also what this nice pinch of salt is gonna do. That is just about 1/2 teaspoon. Now let's get in here with the fresh ginger. And I always keep my ginger frozen for this very reason. It grates really, really nicely when it's frozen. So I'll just wash this, throw this thing in the freezer. You don't need a bag or anything, and you can grate it, skins and all, no problem. And this is gonna come off the grater really, really fluffy. So that's probably like 2 tablespoons of that fluffy grated ginger. But once that thaws, it's gonna be maybe a teaspoon. And it doesn't really matter because I'm gonna taste this and adjust it at the end. I just wanna get some in there and get that started cooking down. I'm gonna hold off on the peppers for now because I want to tune those in just right at the finish. And we're gonna bring this up to sort of a medium boil. It's gonna be more than a simmer, but not a big rolling boil. And we're gonna let that boil for right around 10 minutes. A lot of the berries are gonna pop and it's gonna start to thicken up, and that's exactly what we want to happen. After this has been boiling for just a few minutes, I'm gonna begin to add in the habanero pepper. I'm gonna add it in just a little bit at a time because these things can be deceiving, and one habanero can be much, much spicier than another habanero. So I'm just gonna add in a tiny bit to begin with. And even if you don't like spicy things, I do think you should try and add just a tiny bit of this in there. Not enough that makes it hot, but enough that it's just gonna add a little bit of zestiness, and these do have a really nice floral flavor to them as well. So I'll add in a little bit and give it a taste. And then, because I love super hot things, I'll add in a whole bunch. And we'll just let that cook down with the cranberries. Now what we're looking for is for that boil to kind of change from that real fast kind of boil, and then it's going to reduce down to that kind of low flappity-plappity kind of boil. And we're just about there now. And now that we're just about ready, you want to give this a final little taste. Oh yeah. And you can tune this up any way you like now. Maybe a little more clove. You want more heat, hit that with some more peppers. I'm gonna put in just a tiny pinch more salt. And then right before I take this off the heat, I like to come in over the top with a little more of that fresh ginger. That's gonna give it a real nice brightness. Now, kill the heat. And now I'm just gonna let this cool down, then I'll pop this into the refrigerator and let that set up. Now let's see how we did. Looks like it's set up really well. It's not gelatinous, or it's not runny either. Check out that bite. Oh yeah. I love a big holiday feast. You got some big roasted hunk of meat, all the delicious sides, and you get a free pass to go ham on dessert. But one thing that is sadly underrepresented at the holiday table is some heat. And this will certainly scratch that itch. I've been making it with the orange and ginger for years, and that's really great. But when I was making it this year, those peppers caught my eye, and it just seemed like a good way to literally spice things up, and it couldn't have worked out any better. The flavor of the habaneros works really well here, and the heat they bring is just such a surprise. This is going to be great for any big feast, but it would also be a nice addition to a charcuterie board as a substitution or in addition to the quince paste that you often find there. This would be absolutely delicious with some goat cheese. It'd even be good spread on toast. It did mellow quite a bit after it cooled down, so keep that in mind when you're tuning up the heat in your sauce. This one is pretty smoldering, but like I said earlier, even a tiny bit of heat will add a bit of intrigue to your sauce, and it'll absolutely incinerate anything that comes out of a can. So, give this a try and get lit for the holidays. Thanks for watching.